Salute and welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, where you will enjoy an entertaining short story from acclaimed humor columnist Rob Kreider. Story time is the family portion of the show. Then we move on from the stories to the cocktails. This is where the alcohol and the not safe for work portion of the show takes over, as Rob and his wife /editor /muse Sara Kreider are taking some adult beverages and provide you with a behind the scenes recap of what really inspired the original story. Put your feet up, relax, and enjoy yourself a round of stories and cocktails. Cheers.
This story is called Adult Children by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. My youngest offspring, my only daughter, my little girl, the apple of my eye, turned 18 recently. This means I'm old. I can't run around and act like a kid if my own kid isn't a kid anymore and is actually an adult. I only have myself to blame for the situation because years ago, when my little sweetie pie was crawling around on the floor and making dirty diapers, I remember wishing she would hurry up and grow up. I wanted her to at least get beyond the diaper days. Well, eventually she was potty trained, and she did grow up, just as I wished. And now both of my two children are my adult children. The term adult children is exactly as it sounds. It means that my kids are adults in the sense that they are over 18. However, they still hang around the house and eat everything in the refrigerator. Adult children want to be adults when it comes to staying out late Friday night, but they want to be children again when it comes time to pay their car insurance. Sure, they're considered adults by the law, but because they let me pay their cell phone bill and they still want parties and cake on their birthdays, they are certainly still children. Yes, my kids, adult children, are part of the generation commonly referred to now as millennials. The term millennials is the buzzword going around society today regarding anybody who listens to vinyl records, has a $15 a day coffee habit, and currently doesn't have a job. Personally, I try not to beat up on millennials too badly because the reality is millennials are my fault. My wife and I are the people that raised two millennials to be exactly who and what they are. We created these adult children who care about the environment, love all Apple products, and document everything they eat on Instagram. So what is the punishment for my wife and I committing this heinous crime? Well, probably having these adult children live with us until they're at least 30 years old. I'm guilty. I protected my children from the moment they were conceived. I was a helicopter parent. I strapped my babies into expensive child seats. I let them ride around in huge SUVs. They got terrible gas mileage. I didn't let my kids out of my sight when they were toddlers, literally walking behind them with my arms out to catch them if they fell. I didn't let them ride their bikes around the block when they were in grade school because I wouldn't be able to see them for about 4 minutes. I gave them everything they ever wanted. The newest iPhone when they were just 11, trips to Disneyland when they were 2 months old, and cars when they only had their learning permit. Of course they're spoiled rotten. How could they be any different? Of course they don't want to move out of our house. Why would they want to? Our house is fantastic. The fridge is full. The cars in the driveway have gas in them. The internet is fast. And there's a hot tub in the backyard. I wouldn't move out either. This all sort of hit me on the day of my daughter's 18th birthday. I woke up and found the following email in my inbox from my lovely daughter. The email read, "I sent itineraries to your phones. We will need to start early to fit it all in. Mom, make sure you call Grandma and Grandpa and make dinner reservations. Dad, I'm doing my best to work around your work schedule, but make sure you get off on time. I have also sent pictures of the gifts I want, along with links where to buy them. Hashtag MySweet18. Yes, her birthday had its own hashtag. My little sweetie pie didn't see anything wrong with sending that email, and why should she? Her mom and I paid for a limousine for her and her friends, not for her senior prom, but for her 8th birthday party. Of course, my daughter expects her 18th birthday party to be a very special day, with spa treatments and expensive dinner reservations, because that's what every Disney princess would get. Luckily for me, I had to work that day. It was my wife, whom I love, who enjoyed the entire birthday extravaganza marathon day, which included a pedicure appointment, a jaunt to the movies to see Girls Trip, an excursion to the mall for shopping, specific iced coffee stops, and all-day adoration for our daughter. I caught up with the girls later for dinner at my daughter's favorite restaurant, the Cheesecake Factory. Grandma and Grandpa joined us, and we all celebrated the fact that our little baby girl had successfully survived 18 years on the planet Earth, living in California inside a middle-class home during the 21st century, a very difficult feat. While we were eating dessert, after the waitstaff and half the restaurant sang happy birthday to my baby girl, We asked her what being 18 meant to her. This is what she had to say. Now that I'm finally 18, I can get my belly button pierced and get 3 tattoos. This was not what Mom and Dad wanted to hear, and it certainly wasn't what Grandma or Grandpa wanted to hear. My daughter looked at me and asked, "What does me turning 18 mean to you, Dad?" I told her, "Well, sweetie, it means I can legally call the sheriff's department and have you forcefully removed from my house for trespassing." And my daughter, she looked a bit hurt. She didn't understand why I would say such a thing. Her mom and I chose to have a child. Didn't we want to shower that child with love and affection as long as we possibly could? Why would anyone get the sheriff's department involved? I looked at my daughter's sad face on her birthday, and it broke my heart. So I told her, "Just kidding, sweetie. I love you. So what kind of tattoo are you thinking about getting? Would you like me to make an appointment and pay for it?" Like I said, folks, this is all my fault. By the way, I learned this one thing about millennials. You do have to feed them every few days, or they'll die.
Okay, folks, it's time to pop that top and let's get to those cocktails.
Hey, and welcome to the Stories and Cocktails podcast, coming to you live on tape. This is a roadshow from the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood, California. We are super excited to be here.
Yes.
Kind of a bucket. You don't sound very excited.
Oh, I am.
I think, well, maybe because you've been day drinking all day at the pool at the Chateau Marmont.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, I'm hearing that in your voice a little bit. You're like, yes. Yeah, we're super fucking stoked to be here. At Chateau Marmont.
No, you know what you're getting is that this is like so relaxing and so comfortable and just such an indulgence.
Yes,
I'm just chill. Like, it's just the indulgence. You know what I mean?
It is super chill. It was a bucket list item for us. They give you correspondence stock with your name on it.
Yeah.
They give you like their own playlists on an iPod. 24-hour room service. You can get anything you want. I think you can even get cocaine. 24-hour pool access. No hot tub, but you can be in the pool all night long. They do not give a shit. John Belushi died here.
This is the first hotel that I've been at that you can access the pool 24 hours. I mean, even Vegas doesn't let you be in the pool.
No. This is some Hollywood fucking celebrity shit. And we saw in 2 days 2 different celebrities. I got to hang out at a bar with Sam Rockwell and talk about drinks.
Yeah.
We were arguing over what a drink should be called. He said it should be called a Porsche, which is appropriate because we pulled up in our Porsche.
I don't think it was an argument. I think you were you pretty much acquiesced the conversation to him, and you were pretty agreeable. He's like, "Let's call it a Porsche," and you're just like, "Yes,
I drove a Porsche here.
All my dreams are coming true, Sam Rockwell. Thank
you, Sam Rockwell. You were the bomb in fucking Galaxy Quest, bro.
Yeah,
Moon was weird. Anyways, it was.
You
fun.
really were fanboying a little bit.
A little bit. I tried to play it cool. I'm sure I didn't, but I thought I was playing pretty cool. I will talk about pulling up in the Porsche. So generally, we drive what I call the teacher Hyundai, right? And right now, your Hyundai is just covered in dirt because it just sat in the apartment parking lot. It's just got fucking shit everywhere. And if we were to pull up at the Chateau Marmont, they would have said, "Why are you here? Please back up. Are you dropping off Uber Eats? That's around the corner." But instead, I just pulled up the road and the guy waved me in. He's just like, "Go ahead, right here. You are definitely staying here.
Yeah.
You're in the right car." And that felt really cool. I haven't had a lot of time in the Porsche driving to places, and like to pull up in here was pretty dope for me. That was kind of a fantasy of mine. So it was my own fantasy island.
I'm happy it worked out for you because I experienced it a little different. We pulled up in the Porsche, and then the valet gentleman came over.
In a fucking tuxedo.
And he politely opened the door for me, which is like super nice. But like any kind of thing like that, I'm like, oh, you're doing that? You're opening the door? Oh, thank you. Like weird.
I don't have any tip cash on me.
But then it takes me like an hour to get out of the Porsche and like a lot of grunting because it's like super low to the ground and the seats are really sunken in. So I'm kind of like, it was nice of you to open the door. Now, if you could just step away, I need a private moment where I'm like, yeah.
I might throw a little crotch out. I got to splay my legs out.
I kind of fall out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you were as graceful as a manatee, as they say.
Exactly. Like I said, it was a little different experience. You were just like, this is every moment I've ever wished for. And I'm like, it'd be cooler if we were in an SUV. It'd be a lot easier to get out of.
And just like in true Hollywood fashion, everyone here is not just your bartender. They're also a screenwriter. And the guy who's doing the plunge in your toilet this morning is also a fucking, a gaffer. I mean, like, everybody here is not really what they are. I have a different opinion about it, and we'll talk about it in the story. I think they're just bartenders and gaffers. Toilet people. I don't think they really are writers. They're unemployed writers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not an employed writer. This is why this fucking show is here. Let's talk about a story called Adult Children, published August 2nd, 2017, the Santa Maria Sun. And our daughter's in LA, and she is a stand-up comedian, Or also a grocery store bagger. Or in
No.
this particular case, unemployed.
Yeah,
Waitress.
She was a grocery store cashier, which was good because she was paying her rent and, yeah, I mean, getting wildly in credit card debt, but at least she was paying her own rent and making those credit card payments. And now she's not even a grocery store cashier anymore.
She's a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, and the wisdom that only a 24-year-old can make or use to make a decision, she decided, I can't find a job while I am working this job, and there's a job fair coming up. So I'll just quit this job, vacation for a while, because the job fair coming up, I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. And she's like, well, it was about 4 weeks after I quit my job.
Sure.
So I spent those 4 weeks. I got caught up on
Smart.
laundry. I did some traveling.
Yep.
I organized my room. I'm like, you couldn't do that
Thank
well.
goodness for that. I hope
While you were working 8 hours a day
we're
at the grocery
standing in line at the
store.
unemployment office.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally 24 hours in a day. You worked 8 of them. That was 16 more hours of the day. You could have organized your room and caught up on your laundry. You didn't need to quit.
She also did some better math when she said, well, I had this full-time job at over minimum wage, but now I got the job at the Wiltern where I make minimum wage for like 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
But I do get tips.
Oh, she was so excited.
I'm
Oh,
like,
I went to the
tips? Wow,
job
tips
fair.
must be great.
I went to the job fair and they hired me on the spot. Okay, who's they? Well, they're like these event planners. They do events at the Wiltern. Oh, does the Wiltern have events every single day?
Are they unionized?
Yeah, no, just like most Saturday and Sundays, I could probably get like a 4-hour shift. Yeah, exactly. The math was so bad. How does 40 hours a week? Oh, and at her grocery store job, she was getting paid, I don't know, like $4 or $5 above minimum wage.
Yes.
The Wiltern job, minimum wage.
Yep.
So how does 40 hours
Not even
a week,
a quarter of the hours.
$4 or $5 over minimum wage,
This is called millennial math. Millennial math.
deconstruct to now I'm going to work 8 to 10 hours a week at minimum wage and I'm going to be able to have the same lifestyle. And I'll tell you what her answer was.
What was it?
With tips. I'm going to make
Tips.
tips now. Yeah.
I got a tip. Don't call me for rent money. Speaking of Chateau Marmont stuff, I have a Ramosa you made me, but it has a super dope, massive custom ice cube in it that comes in the Chateau Marmont refrigerator. So this was actually an apartment building in the 1924. So these are all like residences. These rooms have kitchens and like old-timey fridges in them.
Yeah.
So you can live here. And people do live here.
So
For
they tried to
20-something thousand a month.
They've redone it quite a few times in the history. I think we're at like it was built in like 1929 or something. So we're coming up on 100 years old. They've like redone it a bunch of times, but every single time they've made the decision, every new owner, every new management team has made the decision to keep it like old-timey, true to what it was.
And that's what we found out this morning when the toilet plugged.
Yeah. So the
Old-timey.
refrigerator is like, it's like an icebox looking thing. Like it has like a
Lock it-
latch.
like a kid could get locked in it and die.
Yeah, and you have to
You
like
latch that
pull this
motherfucker.
latch. Like it's not like the magnet open and close. It latches. You have to slam it to get that latch to hook. And so there's no ice maker. There's just an ice box, and they have like these silicone ice trays. And the ice that they made was, as you pointed out, was like these big, awesome,
It's good. And what are you drinking?
like whiskey ice cubes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Big ones.
I'm doing a Skinny Captain Cocoa Boom.
Smart. Good choice. I had some of those last night. We also got some really good drinks from our bartender, Gina, the screenwriter, who also does a lot of.
No.
She told me, she's like, I do a lot of celebrity events, and I also do a lot of like industry things. She has like inside information on Casamigos tequila and shit. It was pretty funny.
She wasn't a screenwriter. She was a writer.
Oh, a writer.
So you missed all of this because you were too busy talking about you.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was my day.
You went to the bathroom, and
It was my birthday.
That's when I was like, okay, the loudest man in the room is gone. Gina, what do you do? And she was a journalist, a crime journalist, crime writer. And now she's writing a novel loosely based on her time as a crime journalist. So
Sounds
she's
solid.
not a screenwriter.
Sounds solid. Her and Natty should get an apartment together.
See what I find out about people when you step away?
Well, she was rude to me because I wanted a House of the Dragon tequila shot. And she's like, why do you want me to put this in a ranch water? It's a waste of good tequila. I was like,
wasn't-
I know what I want.
She wasn't rude. She also referred to herself as a tequila sipper. So she was kind of like, look, like tequila sipper. Like this is sipping tequila. This isn't water it down
I
with
did
club
sip it
soda
in
and
my
a
ranch
lime
water.
Tequila. But you,
I won her over by the end of the night.
you were just like, give me the tequila I want. It's my fucking birthday. I just retired. I'm a race car driver. I was a CHP officer. Like That's why when you went to the bathroom, she goes, I'm starting to think he's fucking making this shit up. Like he can't be all of these things. And I was like, no. And that's, when I said he's also a writer, but let's just don't even tell him you're a writer. That way we don't have to hear that part. Like
it's the whole fucking thing.
His autobiography is really monopolizing this whole night. And he hasn't even gotten to the writing yet. So just hold off on that. Okay, Gina? Like, off to the
I think
side.
even Sam Rockwell knows I drove in a fucking Porsche. I'm pretty successful. I don't know why you haven't picked up on this, Gina. But there was also a very interesting New Yorker next to you. She was an art dealer or something, and she called me crass early in the evening. She's like, he's so crass. And I took offense to that. I mean, I was saying fuck every other word and taking up all the time at the bar at Chateau Marmont, which is only 5 fucking chairs deep. Even fucking poor Sam Rockwell he couldn't even sit down to get a drink because I was running the show there. But she called me crass. I didn't like it.
But then she warmed up to you. And then it turned out she was as crass as you were. Like she kind of rolled in late. Like we already had kind of a vibe going in the bar.
Well, the Raiders had just lost.
Yeah.
We were wearing Raiders shit at the Chateau Marmont, which is confusing to everybody there. Why were we doing that?
So we like the people at the bar, we kind of had our own like vibe and our own culture going on. And the culture was crass humor. And so she kind of came in and she was like pretty sober. And she was like, oh, this isn't what I'm used to here. Like, who let these Raiders fans in? She actually asked us if we were guests of the hotel.
I heard her say that. Are you guys staying here? I'm like, I had to hold up my key, which is a real key.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes.
Yeah, and I was kind of like, are you security?
I am staying here.
Like, it doesn't
I'm like,
fucking
the question is,
concern
are you staying here?
So then actually it turns out she stays here all the time. She's in between here in New York and London. Like, just
all right. So she was
a
fancy.
very fancy, successful
She did make
woman.
me feel bad about myself.
I was very impressed with her the more I talked to her.
Yeah. I wasn't impressed with Gina, the fucking bartender writer, but I was impressed with the art dealer.
I was impressed with Gina as well. Gina made some really, really, really good cocktails.
Oh, she makes a tequila infused, cinnamon infused.
It was delicious.
What's it called?
Espresso martini.
Espresso martini. Very, very good.
Yeah, you're over here picking on her and you're calling it an espresso martini.
Look, I am who I am. I'm a guy who drove in from Fresno wearing a Raiders jersey and is spending 2 nights here. The only 2 nights we'll probably ever stay here because it's fucking expensive, and it was dope.
So she called you crass, but then she had a drink and she warmed up to us and she like adopted this crass culture because then minutes later she's like, I love funny men. And she's like, a man tells a joke and I'm on my back.
Oh my God. She did say that. And I almost pissed myself laughing.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, who's crass now? And then it was like,
I was like, how you doing? You got a house in London? I tell
Right.
fucking jokes.
And we didn't
get on your back.
We didn't laugh enough the first time. So then she had like another martini and she like doubled down and told the joke again. And it turns out I was like, I don't even mind that you're repeating yourself. It is so funny. But there was a part of me that was like, wait.
Back off, bitch.
He's funny. And you're like, I like funny men and I'm just on my back. And I'm like, we're together, right? And yeah.
Well, we made it very clear to her. We were together.
So the toilet did plug up this morning and it's always your fault. And this morning it was my fault and it fucking sucked.
So here's what I'm going to say. I've plugged up a number of toilets in a number of hotel rooms. You always freak the fuck out about it. And I'm always like,
so embarrassing.
And I'm like, dude, just relax. And so today when you plugged it, I felt it was my turn to make you feel terrible about it. And so I fucking did.
Yeah, it was horrible.
And you really didn't like it.
It was horrible because the whole thing is so embarrassing and so
You had to call the front desk 3 times to
undignified.
get them to unplug it.
And the guy finally came and I was like, okay, this is almost 100-year-old hotel. This must happen all the time, right? Old plumbing. And I'm like, come on, dude.
Just say yeah.
Just say yeah.
Customer's always right.
Like, make me feel comfortable. Like, everything about this place has just been like service and bullshit to make the guest feel better. So just give me the bullshit now. Like this happens all the time. And he's like, no, not really. I'm like, fuck you. It's 100-year-old plumbing. I know it happens all the time. Happens all the time that I stay here, motherfucker.
Yeah, we have one data point, and it says that when my wife takes a shit, we plug the toilet.
It happens all the time. Then he called me over, and he's like, let me show you something. And then he gave me a tutorial on how to flush the toilet.
So let's go over that tutorial now, so I make sure I get it right. Because God forbid tomorrow morning I plug this motherfucker up. You know what I'm saying?
I know it seems like there is instructions on how to flush a toilet.
Right. I mean, shouldn't they be laminated on the wall if it's that's important?
Yeah. The instructions are, you have to hold the flusher.
So you just need a simple
down.
please hold handle down.
Yeah, you just
during
hold
flush.
the handle down and you kind of watch it go and then you release. He says like a quick just up and down, like just I'm done with my business, just push the handle real quick and then walk away. That's what's going to cause the problem.
Certain disaster are coming.
Yeah.
Things are coming up.
So it's not bad plumbing. It's just me not being patient enough, like me not standing over a dirty toilet bowl and watching the water fill and holding the handle down. Like
There's no dignity in that.
there's no dignity in that. Yeah.
Speaking of dignity, when Sam Rockwell left, Gina got hooked up last night because he's all, hey, Gina, put this on room 78 and go ahead and give yourself a 20% tip. And he walked upstairs. I was like, hey, Gina, go ahead and put my drinks on room 14 and give yourself a 25% tip because I'm going to out-tip the fucking celebrities in this motherfucker.
Yeah. That impressed you.
I was very impressed by it.
Cost me 5% more than usual.
Gina's up 5%, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why even be a writer? All right, let's talk about these fucking kids of ours. These zillennials, you're saying I have the term wrong.
Yeah, I looked it up after I read the article, and because the kids call themselves millennials, and so millennials were born up until 1990. Anyone born between 90 and 2000 are zillennials.
Okay, gotcha. But for us, our kids call us boomers, which we're fucking not. We're Generation X. They need to fucking learn that shit. So as Gen Xers, boomers and Gen Xers just look at anyone who's young with the shaved head and nose ring who you're not even sure what they're doing, and you're like, fucking millennials, right? Go to work. So we just use that term as a derogatory term for young people. But our kids have said, like, no, we are actually zillennials, pay attention, and we're actually worse than millennials. Like, we have a lot worse shit to do, which is nothing. We're going to do nothing.
Yeah.
So, and I don't mean to be shitty to a whole generation. I'm sure you guys are great. I'm just worried because in the end, you guys are going to be the ones taking care of me in the old folks home, wiping my ass, you know what I mean, putting a catheter in me. I want to make sure you have some formal training, some trade school shit, you know what I mean?
They won't.
Some kind of unionization. I'm looking for something here.
They can't.
Because you're going to have like 15 careers before they're fucking 27.
They can't unionize because all they want out of life is a remote job. And how do you unionize?
They want to smoke weed and watch Rick and Morty.
Right. And work remotely.
No, and when I say when they watch it, they're going to watch it on their parents' fucking Hulu account, or the fuck we're using.
Yes. Every single time a new season of Rick and Morty comes out, my cable account gets changed.
Because the kids have changed the passwords to log in wherever the fuck they are in the world.
Well, no, because apparently Rick and Morty is like some kind of like premium. You know, I get like the basic cable, and they have to wait, and you know they can't stream Rick and Morty on the basic cable until like 6 weeks later or something, and they have to watch it like immediately. So every time a new season comes out, my cable account gets upgraded, and I don't even know about it. And then one of them will say something like really flippant, like, "Hey, mom, upgraded the cable account. It's only for 10 weeks while the 10 episodes of Rick and Morty come out." Like, and then they say this, "I'll pay you the extra." Like, no, you fucking won't.
I'm gonna pay your rent check, Mrs. Fucking. I have a part-time job for minimum wage.
One of the times they did this, I was like, okay, well, you're gonna fucking switch it back then, because I don't need to pay this extra $20 a month for the whole year if it's just for Rick and like 10 weeks.
Because
of
we
Rick and
don't
Morty.
watch Rick and Morty.
Yeah. So I'm like, you're going to change it back then. And then all of a sudden, the same person that knows how to upgrade it doesn't know how to downgrade it. I carried that extra premium until we fucking moved. I had to move and go from cable to Hulu Live just to get rid of that stupid Rick and Morty.
But this is our fault. The article I wrote says that zillennials are our fault, and I believe it. We helicopter parented the shit out of them. We gave them every fucking thing that we never had at that age because we just felt like we should. And damn, man, like, of course they have no patience and they're not going to wait for anything to happen. They're just like, why would I wait? Addie had a fucking limousine. How old was she?
8.
8 years old, limousine party. And that took her to a fucking, like, a party place where they did, like, painting and all this fucking princess shit.
Yeah, no, the limousine
crazy.
wasn't the party. It was just the transportation.
To a party place for little girls.
Yeah.
Like, when I was a kid, you got a fucking sheet cake and some Kool-Aid, and you ran around the backyard and played Pin the Tail on a Donkey. I hate to sound like I'm fucking so old, but that was pretty fun.
Yeah, it was.
Ran around the backyard. Some kid got stung by a bee. Somebody fell off their bike. They cried. Moved to the hospital. Boom. A couple people gave me some G.I. Joes. High five, man.
Yeah.
Fucking great birthday. Have great memories of it. Our daughter was in a limousine, and I knew that day when that limousine pulled up, I thought to myself, what in the fuck are we doing?
Well, I'll tell you what we did. I mean, yes, we had a lot of backyard parties when we were kids, but we also had like a Chuck E. Cheese party where everyone got in the back of
A pickup
a
truck.
pickup truck and you just rode in the back of the pickup truck to
That's
Chuck
part of
E.
the fun.
Cheese.
We survived
But
it.
when we did the limo party, we wanted to have the princess party at the princess party place, and we couldn't think of a way to safely transport. I mean, you're the this
Right.
is your fault.
Because I'm a highway patrolman.
You're a highway patrolman.
How are we going to get this many car
How are we
going
going to get this many kids in?
With a seatbelt.
Yeah.
No one's going to sit three deep.
If they're 8, some of them are still 7 because she's turning 8 and
boosters.
she has, who needs to be in the back seat and they can't sit in the front seat until they're
'cause you're
12 and
Yep,
blah,
yep,
blah,
yep.
blah, blah, blah. So the only way that we could safely navigate, 10 8-year-olds to the party place was to put them
Legally.
in a limo.
Let's put in a limo.
Yeah.
And the limo doesn't have seatbelts.
Yeah, so it's not, I guess safe is the wrong word, legally.
Legally, you're allowed not to wear a seatbelt behind the driver in a limousine, just so you know. And you can also drink back there. Now, we didn't let the girls drink. Just full disclosure.
No, they didn't. They didn't drink.
I mean, because people, look, who knows what people think? We're pretty fucked up. I mean, I'm pretty crass. We got this fucking show called Stories and Cocktails. For all they know, we put these girls in a limousine and fed them champagne on the way to the fucking thing.
So all I know about both of our children now is that, like I said, all they care about is getting a remote job. A remote job. I work my own hours.
In my underwear.
I don't work 40 hours a week.
I smoke weed, watch fucking Rick and Morty.
And then somehow my life just magically gets paid for. And I don't understand that because that is not the model that we set. They saw both of us work beyond 40 hours a week and, be slaves to the grindstone or whatever.
I was a fucking wage slave, man.
Yeah, thank you. And so we didn't set that. We didn't model that for them. Like we modeled no, you work 50 to 60 hours a week and you hustle and you bring lesson plans home and you grade papers
promote
at
and you
home
go back to
and
school and you fucking
work
bust your ass. You work a
overtime
second job. You have your second thing with writing or whatever.
So this idea that they can just literally phone in, because that's what I think of remote jobs, phone in 25 hours a week and somehow it's
make 100 G's.
It's insane. It's ludicrous. And the crazy part is I had a coworker who graduated with Addie. So it's not even just like our two personal children or my own dad apart. This kid worked with me and he was a great kid. He was going to be a great teacher. We get to the end of the year, his first year of teaching, and he's just like,
fuck this.
I got a remote job. Why
would I want to be here?
Yeah.
You're like, well, let me tell you when to be here because you need to see. Somehow millennials can't see beyond 5 years or a year.
Right.
Because I knew I want a retirement. I just retired. I want benefits. I want all these things so we can live our life. And this generation is just like, I want a remote job next year. I'm like, well, yeah, if you do that, if you quit your job at the city, you're going to lose all your retirement you put in and your benefits. And they're like, well, you don't care.
Well, and this kid, I got this remote job and it's going to be so much easier and teaching is so demanding and, I don't have to do classroom management. And I'm like, I agree with all that. And I say, okay, how's the pay? He goes, oh, the pay is about the same. Okay. What does that mean? Well, my salary is going to be the same. Okay, so your year salary is going to be the same. Are you going to get 10 weeks off at summer? Are you going to get 3 weeks off at Christmas? Are you getting a week off?
Are you putting 20% of your income into fucking 401k?
Are you exactly?
Do you have a Cobra plan for fucking medical?
Are you?
That's worth about $1,500 a month.
Are you working? A teacher, you're getting paid this much to work 185 days. Now you're getting paid that much to probably work 300 days.
Yep.
Don't tell me the pay is the same.
No, it's remote.
Yeah.
It's remote. So we gotta back up. I don't know how this happened. Look, obviously, as Gen Xers, we have a little bone to pick with the millennials, and it's coming out on the show.
Yeah,
the story was funny.
The story was funny. This
and
podcast, not so much. Just angry.
Well, fuck it. Let's switch it back to the Hotel Chateau Marmont. And I keep calling it the Hotel Chateau Marmont, and there's nowhere where it's called that. It's called the Chateau Marmont. If you're cool and you're from Hollywood, you're like, I'm at the Chateau Marmont.
No, you don't
you
even
say the Marmont.
No.
What do you say?
You say the Chateau.
Do you?
Yeah.
Wow,
you're fucking
I'm
it
from
up.
Fresno.
All You can't spell Chateau. You're trying to. You're posting so a crazed egomaniac. Like I'm at the show Chateau Marmont. Like you can't put your phone down. You don't stop posting, but you keep asking me.
I'm very excited to be here.
How do you spell Chateau again? How do you spell Chateau again? And then
I'm not fancy enough to be here. I'm crass.
And then you're over there typing again. Hotel Chateau Marmont.
So today we started our day by day drinking at the pool. We were actually drinking before noon. It was dope. And then you got to see another celebrity.
Yes.
You were very excited about it. You were giddy in the panties about it.
No, No, it wasn't like this is like someone that's like on my list. It's just he's
Well,
an actor.
you ran back down from the hotel room to go see if he was still
Because
there.
I wanted to see like what was happening. It didn't make sense to me. So we were at the pool, and everyone at the pool is in their bathing suit because it's the pool, and people are getting a little bit of lunch to their lounge chairs and some drinks, and very much
And the food and drinks were fantastic.
a pool day. And then we are like, okay, let's wrap it up. Let's go, go clean up. We haven't, showered or anything like that. Let's get ready. And so we're leaving. And as we're leaving, here comes Dean Winters, who's Mayhem from the insurance commercials. And he comes with like people.
He's got an entourage.
But
His staff.
everyone is in their poolside gear, like their bathing suits. And he's like in jeans and laced up shoes.
He's got the flavor saver
and a jacket. So I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing a jacket to the pool? And he walks by us and no offense, Dean Winters, if you're listening, I doubt you would be. But, he's older than us. So he's in his 50s and he looks every day.
Hey. I just turned fucking 50 yesterday.
Yeah. He's older than you. He's a little deeper.
I'm just saying, I took offense to that. Nobody wants to hear fucking he's in his 50s.
He's in his 50s.
I just heard it from the first time out of your lips, and I'm like, holy shit, I'm in my fucking 50s.
But the reason that I'm pointing this out is that he's in his 50s is because he's in his 50s and he's wearing a jacket to the pool. So he's not there to go swimming in the pool. And then he goes and has like a meeting with the three
Zillennials.
youngest women. Yeah, they were Zillennials. So I was already tripped out by these Zillennials because I'm like, how are you even here?
Yeah,
because
it's my husband's 50th birthday. We saved all of our money up on the whole wide world to be here for 2 nights, and there's just fucking kids walking around the pool like they own the place.
Yeah, so I was.
How in the fuck
I was
do you afford
like,
this?
How are you here? Shouldn't you be working remotely or something, like watching Rick and Morty?
You're like, I am. It's Monday. I'm working from the pool at the Marmont.
So I was already kind
Chateau.
of interested in that group of young women because I couldn't figure out like how, what's the secret? How did you get here at your age? And then Dean Winters goes right to them.
Well, if Dean Martin showed up, it would have been dope.
Now,
I'm sure Dean Martin partied here, but
yeah,
he's been dead for a while.
It was Dean Winters. And
it would have been way cooler if it was Dean Martin.
They were obviously having like a business meeting. So then I got super interested. I'm like, I want to eavesdrop on this.
It was a Coke deal. It was a Coke deal.
But then
the reason those girls are so young is they sell Coke to fucking celebrities at the fucking chateau.
But then we had already decided we were going to leave, so I missed it. So
yeah, you came back.
Well, yeah, because I still wanted to know. So like then I came back up. I'm like, what would be an acceptable amount of time to go back and do like some fangirling or star watching?
Yeah.
And so I decided that about 20 minutes was the acceptable amount of time, and I missed him. He was gone.
You found that all the 50-year-olds at that point are probably taking naps.
Yeah, so I don't know why he was there. I don't know what the meeting was about. The young woman that he was meeting with, they just sat and chain smoked then. And so I was trying to get close enough to him to eavesdrop, but all I was really doing was like breathing their secondhand smoke. And then I was just like, okay.
Hollywood loves the smoke, dude.
Yeah.
God, it's disgusting.
So I breathed a little bit of secondhand smoke, and then I just said, like, fuck it. I'll go back up to the room and podcast.
All right, big shout out. The drink that Gina makes here, she's the head cocktail mixologist.
Now you want to compliment her.
Is called From Dusk Till Dawn.
Now you want to compliment her. You were shitting all over her before.
Well, listen, I like to bust balls, but actually Gina was a great bartender.
Her drinks
she did a good
phenomenal.
Job. It's called Dusk Till Dawn, a reference to Quentin Tarantino, his 3rd film. And it was really good. Very, very good. So come to this chateau and have yourself a Dusk Till Dawn. You'll probably see a celebrity because we've only been here for 2 days and we've seen 2 celebrities. We have a couple more. We have another day.
Yeah.
So we'll see what we find.
So we've seen Sam Rockwell and Dean Winters, like big whoop. But last night, you and the other guy, you guys were kind of like fanboying over Sam Rockwell. Sam Rockwell's like, let's name this drink a Porsche, and yours like, oh my god, he said Porsche. And so the super nice New Yorker is sitting next to me, and she's like, oh my god, she's like, I'm so embarrassed. She's like, I just saw Sam Rockwell, and she's like, don't look, play it cool. And she's like, but I just glanced over and I was like, hi. And she's like, now I'm so embarrassed because I acted like such a dork. So I hadn't even seen him yet. I had only gotten notified from her, like, he's right behind you.
Like, and your husband's talking to him. Why is he talking?
Yeah, she's like, don't be a dork like I was. So then I'm like, dude, I got to turn around and look at him because I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't have been able to, I would have recognized him like, oh, there's that guy from that movie. But like, that's where it ends with me. I wouldn't have been able to pull Sam Rockwell out and know that that was his name. I wouldn't have been able to pull Galaxy Quest out. So then he leaves, and then you and the finance guy, you were like, oh my God, did you girls see that? Did you girls see who that was? Oh my God, you guys were playing it so cool. And I was like, oh, I know. Like, she warned me, play it cool. Like, we were actually working on playing it cool. I'm glad you noticed. But long story short,
You guys played it cool.
she tells me, she's like, yeah, I was here about 10 years ago. And she goes, I'm checking in and they didn't have my room right. She goes, so I start chipping away. Like, I'm pissed. I'm pissed that they don't have my room that I'm supposed to get. And she's like, I'm with my ex-husband. And I start
Yeah,
complaining.
you don't want problems here. You spend a lot of money to be here. The shit
Right.
better be right.
So she is kind of like, hey, this shit isn't right. And so she's like, she's like, my ex-husband is like looking at me, and she's like, I think he's trying to tell me, like, calm down. And she goes,
Stop being a Karen.
Yeah. So she's like, I'm looking at him like, no, like, if you're not going to fucking handle this, I'm going to, and she's like,
Step away, son, while
she's
I
like-
fix this shit.
she's like, ultimately, like, this is why we ended up getting divorced, because he can't fucking handle shit. I have to handle shit. So she's like, I'm handling shit. I'm going to make sure we got the room that we booked.
Unplug my toilet, motherfuckers.
So she's like, I am just amping up. I am figuring this out. And she's like, my husband just keeps staring at me and staring at me. She's like, then finally he kind of like taps my shoulder and he like kind of like nods at me, like, look behind you. And she's all, and standing behind me, waiting to check in. She's like waiting for me
Patiently.
to stop being a
Hey,
fucking
Karen,
bitch.
we all have to check in.
Yeah.
Please go to your room.
And she said, it was Ryan Gosling. So you're over here and you're like, oh, Dean Winter, Sam Rockwell. I'm like, dude, where the fuck is Ryan Gosling? That's how many nights do I have to stay here in a row to see Ryan Gosling?
You're like, how many fucking B-list shithead actors we got to see before Ryan Gosling walks in this motherfucker?
Yeah, I'm here.
When's Johnny Depp going to come in here?
I'm here for the Goss. You know what I mean? Like,
Was that your go-to?
Ryan Gosling?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to think of like the coolest celebrity to come in here. To me, it's John Belushi, but he died here. He died here in Bungalow 3, and he's not going to come back. I've been looking for his ghost. I've been listening at night, but I don't hear anything from Belushi, man.
Yeah, sorry, dude.
That's all right. Yeah, that's cool.
He went to the other side. He's not still hanging around.
Read the book Wired. It's the biography of John Belushi. It is fantastic.
Get ready for our kid to come over, for our Zillennial to come over and enjoy the fruits of our labor.
Yeah, our Zillennial daughter's going to come here because she's not working right now. And she's going to enjoy the chateau on our dime. We're going to eat fucking room service and go to the comedy store and see a show. So on that note, let's raise a glass. Not grass, but glass. I've been drinking. Cheers.
Cheers.
Hold on, everybody. It's not last call yet. We have another story on this episode. Excuse me, ma'am. Can I get another round?
If you enjoy hearing Rob Kreider's different humor columns here on the Stories and Cocktails podcast, then I promise you will love his novel, Cadet Blues. Cadet Blues is Rob's hilarious tell-all about desperately trying to survive the shock and awe boot camp-style training at the California Highway Patrol Academy. People from all different walks of life have come to love this book because Cadet Blues is simply a crazy good read. Heartfelt, inspiring, and damn funny. It's available in paperback through Amazon, eBay, or cadetblues.com, where you can get free shipping and a personalized autographed book. Or you can download a digital copy of Cadet Blues from Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble Nook, or Apple iBooks. Do yourself a favor and check out the novel, Cadet Blues.
Okay, folks, we have one drink down the gullet, which means we need to get our next one on deck. Time to enjoy the second story. Bartender!
This story is called Under Pressure by Rob Kreider. Hey, that's me. Like most men, I'm not a huge fan of going to the doctor. I don't enjoy sitting in waiting rooms. I don't like being poked with needles. I'm not a big fan of having a finger placed up my tush. To avoid all of the unwanted poking and prodding, I just don't go to the doctor. If some ailment comes up, I simply Google WebMD. I fix any deep cuts with duct tape, and I self-medicate with beer. Just think of all the copays I've saved over the years. So after a decade of taking care of myself, which means quite the opposite, it isn't a big surprise to anyone I recently had an episode where I had to be rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. The rumor at the hospital, if they can be believed, is that I have high blood pressure. It is so high, in fact, that I got a bit dizzy and ultimately scared everybody at the office. When you scare people you work with, then the ambulance comes. Against all my requests not to call an ambulance, I was suddenly in the back of one, being trucked across town, lights and sirens activated, which I thought was all pretty unnecessary. I just needed a beer and a nap. The doctors at the hospital did not agree with my assertion that a beer and a nap would fix my problems. They said I needed blood pressure medication, if these guys could be believed. I nodded my head in agreement in the emergency room because I would nod to anything if I thought I could get them to release me. Good news, they let me go from the emergency room after half a day. Bad news, they released me to actually be admitted into the hospital. More needles and a bunch more copays later, the doctor, if he could be believed, told me I had high blood pressure. I was starting to see a trend. Everyone around me thinks I have high blood pressure. What do these numbers really represent? Maybe I'm just exceptional, and that's why my numbers are so high. They said I needed a stress test. This confused me because I was of the opinion that I probably had high blood pressure because I have too much stress in my life. Apparently, they wanted to test that theory with more stress, if these people could be believed. They put something into my IV that felt like my heart had been kicked by a bull. Yeah, I failed that test. After that experience, I started nodding and agreeing more and more to do anything the doctors wanted as long as I could get released from the hospital. I had my wife, whom I love, sitting by my side, giving me dirty looks, making me feel bad for not taking my health seriously. She wanted me to go to the doctor regularly, and she wanted me to stop using WebMD and beer as health insurance. I nodded and agreed with her too, since all I wanted to do was get out of the hospital. I was tired of the needles and the bull kicks to the heart and all the guilt. They were not going to let me go. My job was to stay in bed, eat Jell-O, take my medication, and get my blood pressure down. I did this for what seemed like forever. People from work kept coming by to see how I was doing. I just held up my Jell-O and said, I'm relaxing and eating Jell-O. Obviously, I'm doing just fine. Can you ask the doctor to let me go? Nobody would. Finally, after everyone got some copay, the ambulance, the emergency room, the main hospital, the labs, the test folks, and the guy who brings the bulls into the hospital to kick you in the chest, I was finally released on my own recognizance. My probationary terms? No salt. By the way, I promise you, I am living healthier. I made the switch to light beer.
Okay, patrons, you've been to this bar before. You know it's cocktail hour again. Are we doing shots or what?
Hey, welcome to Stories and Cocktails, the live drunk, whatever portion of the show we call it. I don't know what we call it. Live on tape, on the road. We're in Las Vegas, Nevada, as opposed to Las Vegas, California, which doesn't exist. And we're here for shenanigans and drinking. And turns out the Las Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup, which by accident it's happening. And we were here anyways and looking forward to that. We are enjoying some very, very early drinks. What do you got there, Mrs. Ryder?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You weren't quite ready for that intro, were you?
I wasn't.
Oh, yeah, that was
just like getting the show going here.
That was a little bit of a ramble. We had to travel light this trip. I usually like to travel to Las Vegas with my own Keurig, but we didn't. So this morning we had to do the 10-mile hike down the elevator through the candy cane forest under the Lincoln Tunnel to the Starbucks and get in the longest Starbucks line.
A very long line, yes.
And there was definitely a group that had navigated the mobile app, and then there was a group that didn't.
They were using technology.
Oh yeah, no, those mobile app fuckers. They're like,
they stand there very smug too. Like, you're not standing in line, are you? You're so fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're like the VIP people at Disneyland. When you're just standing in line at Disneyland, and then all of a sudden they bring like Shia LaBeouf.
The fast pass people go by.
He gets to go like right to the front because he's like, I'm Shia LaBeouf. Like, I was a Disney kid. I'm gonna cut in front of you guys with my entourage. And yeah, these mobile VIP, they're just like mobile VIP. That's me.
I think Shia LaBeouf has been banned from Disneyland. I think he used to be able to go do that stuff. I think those days are in his past.
I know, that was the most random celebrity reference.
I learned something today. So I know that my wife is a slave to the bean, meaning that you need coffee.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. I'm drinking decaf right now.
Yeah.
With Bailey's in it. Thank you.
Oh, well, yeah, I never got to that part because I just was. You and I are both just
you were still
rambling
itching about the coffee line. But what I found this morning was I was like, oh, you need to get up and get coffee. So, I'll go with you. Like, it'll be nice if I go with you. Like, I'm just trying to be nice. We didn't get too hammered last night in Vegas. We partied pretty hard. We were in bed by 9. Look out, everybody. Like, when we were going to bed, kids were getting ready to go out to a club.
I know.
And meet a stranger and have sex with them. And we were falling asleep before that even any of that journey started for anybody else. So I'm like, hey, I'll go out with my wife. We'll get coffee. It'll be nice. And so we get in the long, long line. And then you start reevaluating, like, I don't need this coffee. I can get coffee anywhere. So fuck this line. But I'm like, well, maybe I'll get some egg bites. Maybe I'll get an Americano. And you're like, no, dickhead, you can get coffee over here. I'm like, no, I kind of want Starbucks. And you're like, ugh, fuck. So I realized like, oh, now I'm screwing this up. So then you kind of give me a little attitude, right? Because it's like, it's my fault now we're in line. I was trying to do something nice for you. Then I realized like, oh, you're a bit moody in the morning. And then you decide you're going to change my order too. You decided the order that I'm going to get at Starbucks, even at the front of the line, you're like, you're getting an Americano? Just get a fucking decaf drip because it's faster. I'm like, are you changing my order here? So you do change my order. And then Starbucks says, now we're going to give him an Americano anyways. And we had to wait for him.
Yeah, they don't have a decaf drip. I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah. So anyways, I think you're beautiful. I love you. We had a good time. But it is true, before coffee, you're a little moody. So I'm wondering if we should have like a period where I don't interact with you until you get your coffee.
Yeah, that's a new novel idea.
That sounds like sarcasm on your part.
Oh yeah, no, I've been trying to have like real clear communication with you for a couple of years now about coffee time. Like, don't make a lot of noise. Like, don't play music. Don't play podcasts. Like, don't talk. Don't throw the ball for the dog. Like, even the dog knows coffee time is quiet time. He gets up. He's like, Mom feeds me. She pours her cup of coffee. Then we sit in that chair. I get on her lap. I don't fucking move. I don't move. If I have an itch, I don't scratch it. I just sit half dead on her lap while she gets like a cup and a half of coffee. And then maybe I ask her if she'll throw the ball. But you come in
just so people know what the felony that I committed this week was. I was kind and I was having conversation and I was amicable and laughable and fun to be around. And you were like, you're at a fucking 15 right now. You're at a 15. I'm
you
like,
need to bring it down.
What? You're like, you're at a fucking 15. You don't even need decaf. You know, I'm like, I'm sorry.
Like, I'm a slave to the bean. So I got up. I was like, okay, I'm going downstairs. I'm going to brave it. It's going to be bright. There's going to be lights. I got to walk through the casino. Like, I cannot handle
shower,
the
no
casino.
Makeup, just trashed looking.
I'm just going to go down there like a zombie. The zombie that I am, I'm going to get some coffee. And then you said, I'll join you. So you don't have to carry 2 cups. And here's the thing is you think I was being bitchy, but I want you to know, like, you know how you put a note in your phone to be kind to me?
Yes.
I made a mental note. I was like, okay, just call me your tits, be nice. He wants to go with you. Aren't you a lucky wife that your husband wants to go downstairs and get some coffee with you? And he's thinking like, I don't want to make you carry 2 cups. So all of those things went through my brain. So I was just like, be patient, be nice. And I want you to know, like, because you think like you weren't. You're like, well, you already fucking failed that. No, I didn't start being bitchy until we were downstairs, like getting out of the elevator. Because in the room, you're like, I'll go with you. Okay, motherfucker. I'm walking out the door. You're just like, have you seen my other flip-flop? Like, hang on, let me put my belt on. And in my mind, I was being kind because I didn't say what was actually going on in my head, which I was just like, how fucking long does it take you to get dressed, motherfucker? I need some coffee.
Shorts, t-shirt, flip-flops.
Yeah.
It's fucking 3 things. You don't even need underwear right now.
I need a clean outfit. I'm like, the fuck you do? I'm wearing last night's makeup down there. I'm not putting a bra on. We're just going down there like zombies. We're getting the fix that we need. Let's go. You're just like, a quick shave maybe? Oh, motherfucker.
I'm like, well, I'm going to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're like, no. So yeah, coffee for me is a very social thing in my job. CHP, coffee has priority, but it was really more for like, let's hang out, talk shit about the sergeant, whatever. So for me, I'm like, oh, let's go. We're going to chat and enjoy some coffee. And who cares if the line's long? I'll just stand and talk to you in the line the entire time we're in line. You're just like, don't speak to me. Because your bitchiness would just only increase when they saw how long the line was. What I was ordering is just like all of it was getting more and more exponentially shitty.
Well, plus the 2 women in front of us, they were
the ones who had all the friends in
yeah.
fucking Vegas, so they kept bringing to the front of their line.
They were way too delightful. Like, right when we got in line, I was like, these fucking chicks, they're dressed. Their hair's clean. Like they showered, they brushed their teeth. Like, who are you that you're down here showered and cleaned before
coffee? It was like
coffee?
9:30 in the morning.
Yeah, like what?
In Vegas
is happening? So you were at like a 15. They were like at a 16, and they were just chatting it up with each other. And they were delightful women. That's not what I was looking for at that moment. I was just looking for everyone to just not make eye contact, look down, mumble.
Well, what interested me about was they were sitting in front of us. They were being very fine and nice. And then they're like, Cheryl. And they're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
wait, come on up. I'm like, look, this isn't like your kid. You're doing one order. Cheryl's going to do her own fucking order. So Cheryl's jumping the line. And then the one lady shakes her hand and goes, nice to finally meet you in person. I'm like, bitch, you just met this person?
I
And
know.
you're fucking jumping the line? This is bullshit. My wife's about to melt down. I'm about to get
clocked
kicked
that.
in the nuts.
So they brought Cheryl up, and then they're like, Julia. And then, yeah.
Well, I looked back at Julia. I'm like, don't fucking do it. Julia didn't come.
Well, and then, you know what? And to their defense, because they were so delightful, there were two in line. They brought Cheryl in, and Cheryl was like, I don't want to cut in front of these people.
And they said, no, it's fine. It's fine.
No, she goes, one of them said, no, I'm not ordering. I've been standing, I've been the second person in this line this whole entire time, but I'm not ordering. I don't drink coffee. So then I was like, okay, all
Like,
is
okay.
fair.
Yeah, it's sum zero here.
Yeah. But then I was also like, why is your chipper ass in this fucking line?
So you're telling me that
You
you're
don't-
just in this
you
line
just-
to shoot
yeah.
the shit with people who need coffee?
You don't even fucking drink coffee. Go get back in bed. Like, what are you doing?
So you were trying to explain to me in a very kind way to me, like, look, I'm moody. Don't talk to me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I just forget because I just don't have the physiological thing about coffee that you do. So then you're breaking it down for me, and I'm trying to like understand it. I mean, I've only been married to you for 27 years. I'm like, what's this thing with you? So then I'm standing there waiting to get my coffee, and then this other woman comes by, and she's you, and very pretty, but it's morning, no makeup, no shower.
Well, yesterday's
no bra.
makeup. A little bit of makeup. Yesterday's.
Yeah. And then she's been partying in Vegas.
my God,
She's
dude.
walking funny, and like basically like.
Not to interrupt you, but I'm getting that menopause coffee
Ooh, you're getting hot.
sweats. Yeah.
And of course, we can't
we
have
turn the AC off.
AC on for
and-
production value.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to look the other way when I kind of get like
yeah,
the
little boob sweat.
the under boob sweat. Yeah, I just
Yeah, you guys are missing out the visual here. My wife is just reaching underneath her braless shirt, just using part of her t-shirt to get the boob sweat out.
it's
which is-
bad too.
Which I find incredibly sexy. But anyways, I'm quite the pervert though.
It's menopause topped with hot coffee. We turn the AC off, and then I put alcohol in the. I'm just having a hot flash. It'll pass.
For the record, it's 9:50, folks. We care about this show so much. We're drinking well before noon, well before 10. So when this woman walked by, and she had a very specific look on her face, which said,
You recognized it
"Get
as
the
my
fuck
look.
out of the way."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, she seems really unpleasant. I'm going to stay away from her, And then I thought, "Oh, I'm standing next to that woman currently, trying to be pleasant." So yeah.
The thing about Starbucks too, where they shout out your name, and when you have a name like Sara, the odds were 85% that she was also Sara. Because I find that like every time I go to Starbucks, I'm like, okay, just tell them you have a different name. Because
Yeah.
you're gonna listen to 4 Saras be called before it's you. Like there's grande mocha for Sara. I'm like, oh, you fucked up my order. I don't have. Oh,
That's
she's
different. That's
she's a
different age.
Sara.
Yeah.
Iced latte. I wouldn't fucking drink iced coffee if it was the last cup of coffee on. Oh, that's a different Sara as well. When is my turn? When is this Sara? They're like, you're the 4th
Just give
Sara.
yourself and just go in there like, "What's your name?" "My name is Thunderfuck."
I know. That's what I'm
Like,
thinking.
let's see, drip coffee for Thunderfuck. Like, that's me. Everyone's like, "Whoa!" And the other thing is, people clear out of the way. Like when I went to get my order, there was another lady who just wouldn't want to get away from the counter. I'm like, "Lady, there's 50 people here. Don't stand in front of the counter. We're all standing back the appropriate 10 feet." And she's just blocking the shop. But if they say Thunderfuck, people are gonna get out of the way. Like, Thunderfuck's coming. I'm getting out of the
Coffee is
way,
right.
dude. I'm gonna get the fuck out of the way.
You know what's funny? I want to go back to something you said earlier. You're like, yeah, at work, coffee was a social thing. We all did it. No, I have talked to your work buddies, and yes, they're your friends. Like in friendship, they're your peers, they're your equals. But in the office, rank matters, and so they're just like, no, I drank my coffee this morning before I came to work, like a normal person. I brewed my coffee in my kitchen. I asked
It was
no one.
free.
I asked no one to talk to me. I asked for quiet time. My dog sat on my lap. Like they're like, Sara, how you drink coffee? That's how I drink coffee. That's how the addicts of the world drink coffee. Like then at around 10, the
Chief Kreider shows up
chief comes in.
late.
Yeah. Hey, you guys, let's go get a cup of coffee. All of your friends have confided in me. They're like, yeah, the days that he doesn't come to work, I get another hour's worth of work done during my work day. I save $6 because I don't drink that. I don't get that like the extra jitters because I'm drinking extra coffee because I already drank my coffee. at
First of
home.
all, that's bullshit. I always buy their coffee, so
Oh.
it's free.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
I
okay.
pick up the tab
But
because I know
still,
I'm obligating these people to now leave the campus.
but
and hang out with me.
your perception is we all like to go to coffee at 10. Behind your back, they're like, when he's not at work, None of us go to coffee.
Nobody goes to coffee at 10. Yeah, coffee at 10 is great. You roll in about 9:45. You high-five a few employees. How you doing? How you doing? What's going on? How was your weekend? They're like, it's Tuesday, dickhead. Weekend talk was Monday. But thanks for showing up. Okay, great. You had a good weekend. Hey, who wants to go to coffee? It's on me. And then everyone's like, fuck. And they're like taking their guns off and changing their uniform because I'm not wearing a fucking uniform. So then we go to coffee. I buy for everybody. Dutch Bros in Fresno. And we hang out for a while. And then suddenly they're looking at their phones. They're looking at their watches. They kind of like got to go. And then I'm like, I don't know, man. We're out and about. Like, what are we doing for lunch? Let's just fucking take this right to lunch. So it is good to be the chief. Your job is to, check on your folks, see how they're doing. But really, what turns out is I'm basically shaming them to go to coffee with me.
Is this the high intensity, high level stress job that put you in the hospital in 2018?
Let's talk about that. The story today is called Under Pressure, published September 19, 2018, Santa Maria Sun. Yes, this is the job that caused me to go to the hospital. And I was at work, and actually I had a secretary then, and I walked in, I was feeling dizzy, and I'm like, hey, and then I just fell on the fucking ground because I was like super, super dizzy. And I tried to grab a couple desks on my way down. And when you kind of fall down and you're the boss, it scares the shit out of every employee in there. And then the ambulance was on its way rapidly.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, do not send the ambulance. I don't want to go in a fucking ambulance. I'm just a little dizzy.
I'm glad that you were at work when that happened because you had already had several dizzy spells that you had ignored. And you'd had them outside of work. And you were just like, I'm a little lightheaded. It's a little bright outside. I need new sunglasses.
Maybe I need a little bit of water.
I need some water. Yeah. And, so you had kind of ignored those.
Yep.
The chances are you had one before I had my morning coffee. So I'm like, don't interrupt my morning coffee with your fucking dizziness. Go back to bed.
Yeah. My secretary gave me much more love and care than you would have, for sure.
So I'm glad it finally happened at work because they were like, no.
DEFCON 5.
Yeah, this is not going to happen on our time, Captain Kreider, because you were captain then.
Yep.
And so they called the ambulance and they made you go. And I know you were kicking and screaming. And
well, the funny part was I got there, they took my blood pressure. And at this time, I didn't know systolic, diastolic. I don't know, fucking remember. I mean, I had this training back at the academy because I was like an EMT, but I don't remember the shit. I'm just like, I forgot that already.
You were like 250 over 180.
Yeah, so they're like, your blood pressure's,
it was over 200.
And I'm like, so? And the guy goes, so you're going to the hospital. I'm like, what the fuck? He's like, listen, Captain, I cannot put a blood pressure cup on anybody and their blood pressure is high. They don't go in the fucking ambulance. You're going to the ambulance. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's go.
So that was like, I think it was like the first week of school, maybe the second week of school. And I got a phone call to my classroom, which is always a bad sign because we don't call classrooms. And then it was Dave Knopf. And I was like, well, Dave Knopf, your kid isn't in my classroom. Like, why are you don't work in the office. You're not telling me to send little Johnny up to the office with like, Dave Knopf, why are you calling me? And then he's like, Sara, Rob's in the hospital. Like, fuck, it's the second week of school. You can't do this to me.
What a selfish asshole.
So then I went to
poor timing.
I went to the hospital. No, I mean, we're making jokes now. I was fucking scared. I, pedal to the metal. What do you say? Wood to the floor or something like that?
To the wood.
And pedaled to the hospital. And I was really, really, really scared. But you were your like affable, chipper self. You're just like, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm dizzy. My blood pressure is like over 200. I don't know what the big deal is. Get me out of here.
Yeah, everyone's fucking making a big deal of this.
And then there were, I don't know, like 17 chiefs in the waiting room.
Lining the hallways, yeah.
Lining the hallways, yeah. And some of them I had never even met before. So we're doing like introductions, you know what I mean? And they're like, nice to meet you. I'm like, is it nice to meet me? Finally? Well, my husband's in the hospital. Like, I'm sure we could have just gone to lunch together or something.
Or coffee at 10 a.m.
Yeah. And then this is when I came out. So I went and I checked on you and you were just like, tell everyone to go back to work. Like, I don't need them out here. And that's when I marched out there to all those chiefs. And I said, you guys, I really appreciate you being here. And they gave me like that, oh, the CHP, we're like a family. And I'm like, I just fucking met you. But whatever. Okay, we're like a family. You care so much. I'm like, your caring is noted. Thank you. Your presence is noted. And then I said, but you know what? He's in there for fucking stress. All of his bosses out here in the hallway while he's in there in a fucking gown with his ass hanging out. Like, that's only increasing his stress. So like the baller wife that I am, I looked all 17 of those chiefs in the eye and I was like, thank you. Now GTFO. I actually said GTFO.
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah. And
I was in the room and I heard you give him the what for. I was like, yeah, girl, you tell him. The one thing I remember about that, because I'm such an egomaniac, was I'm there, I'm fucking dying. Chiefs are there, you're freaking out. And then the nurse who was taking care of me, she'd read Cadet Blues. And I was like, honey, she's read Cadet Blues. She read my book.
I was probably like, oh my God.
Who gives a
Who
fuck?
gives a shit?
How did this even come up? Dude. I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm a race car driver and an author. Have you read Cadet Blues? She goes, I actually did read it.
My boobs will not stop sweating. I need to go to the hospital.
Speaking of sweating, you made me sweat yesterday because we spent the day at the Circa Stadium Swim to watch the Las Vegas Golden Knights win Game 4 of the Stanley Cup. And you did a thing that we've done a lot in the past, but I've tried to stop doing.
You told me to do it.
You stole shit.
Well, I mean, did I steal it or did I just sort of
You're still borrowing it?
borrow it, acquire it?
It's also the dumbest thing you can steal. What it is a big piece of plastic that says reserved. It goes over the back of your VIP lounge chair, reserved Stadium Swim.
Yeah, but it holds your towel in place.
It does. It is pretty cool.
Yeah, so they drape the towel over the lounge chair like everyone does, right? I've seen this done like a million times. What made this particular establishment stand out is then they had this reserved
Clip.
kind of like a clip. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they put it on top of your chair so that everyone
Holds
knows.
your towels in place. and
Everyone
you're like,
knows like you reserved this
is
shit.
my spot.
And it holds your towel in place. And actually there was like a nice breeze coming through, blowing the towel up, and this held it in spot.
It did work very well. So my beautiful wife has had an affinity for stealing shit from like restaurants. As a kid, you would steal like, the Carl's Jr. thing if it said number 38 or whatever it was. You would steal shit.
No,
from
okay.
places. What else did you take?
Everybody was stealing. I don't know. In your hometown, everyone stole, or I'm asking you, did everyone steal the Carl's Jr. numbers? Because in my hometown, everyone stole the Carl's Jr.
Yeah, I was always trying to get my number. 30.
Yeah. Carl's Jr. is where we hung out after the football games. Like that was the hangout spot, was Carl's Jr. And so everyone stole the numbers. Well, that was too pedestrian for me. I'm like, oh, all you fuckers. Oh, you've got these numbers like on the dashboard of your car.
Yeah.
And,
if you go to car shows, if you have like a 67 Mustang, they'll have 67 from Carl's Jr.
From Carl's Jr.
Yeah,
Okay.
Stolen from
So
Carl's Jr.
I was like,
very common automotive thing.
I was like, everybody's doing that. And what does a number really do for you anyways? So I one-upped everyone and I stole the napkin dispenser.
Yes.
I was like, this is useful.
I mean, everyone needs napkins.
Everyone needs napkins.
Yeah, so when I met you.
Yeah, and I started at a young age.
You just had stolen shit, unnecessary stolen shit.
And it's bizarre because I feel like a pretty ethical person. Like I feel like my moral compass is pretty north.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, no.
Is it now?
This is like my one thing. Like this is my one crime that I commit over and over and over again.
You do hold yourself at a very, very high ethical level. And
I
you're a
know,
very ethical person, but you do
I will
steal
just
shit.
rip off bars and
when I say
restaurants.
steal shit, like you won't steal like a shirt from,
Oh God, no. I would never steal something
You'll
that
never
has a price tag
shoplift.
on it.
But you're like, well, this wasn't for sale, so I couldn't have bought it. Had they made it for sale, I would have bought this. But you stole it. When we got married and I became a highway patrolman, I would say to you, please stop stealing stuff. And now we were at a bar in Reading one time with a bunch of work people, and you're like, this is the coolest glass.
I paid for that.
Don't steal this glass. Don't steal this glass. Don't steal this glass.
I paid for that.
So you have a fair amount of
Because you did.
glasses.
You said don't.
Yeah, it was probably the first pint glass you ever bought in your fucking life. You stole 100 of them before that one got purchased.
See, what happens is, because I do listen to you, and you say, like, we make good money. We're well taken care of. There's no.
You're a teacher. I'm in law enforcement.
Yeah.
Don't steal.
There's no reason for you to steal a pint glass from a bar. Like, this is ridiculous. These bars are struggling after COVID. Like, they can't just have these pint glasses.
Don't do this.
Getting up and walking out. So you've told me that, and I do listen. But here's what happens, is I'm at the bar. I've had about 7 beers, and I'm holding what, in my mind, is the coolest pint glass I've ever seen.
The pinnacle of pint glasses.
Yeah.
Unattainable. Anywhere else.
It says Bud Light on it. It maybe has the name of the establishment. It says like this Bud Light's for you, Sara. Like in my mind,
exactly,
right?
yeah.
You know, and it's like
gold plated.
It's holographic, rainbow holographic. Yeah, it's got. If you take it in a blue light, I know it's gonna do other fancy shit.
Yeah.
So then I go to the bartender, and I try to do the right thing, and I say, hey, thank you. You've been great. You've been pouring great pints all night. I really appreciate your service. I would like to buy this glass. When I'm finished drinking it, I would like to put it in my purse and walk out of it purchased, because I'm an ethical person. But see, they just get these glasses for free, like they're promotional, from Bud Light or whatever. So they don't even have a price on them. So the bartender just looks at me and is like, I can't, I don't even know.
I don't have a button for that.
I don't have a button for that. Yeah.
I got a button for margarita. I ain't got a button for fucking pint glass.
8 times out of 10, the bartender will just kind of give me a wink, like, you do what you want to do with that when you're done.
We'll see how that holds up in a court of law. You're like, judge, jury, your honor, the bartender gave me a wink. And everybody knows a wink means steal shit from this establishment.
One time, this was probably... this is
I
probably...
can see you when the cuffs are going on. You're like, he fucking winked at me. What are you putting me in the car for? He fucking winked at me.
But then sometimes they'll just put like an extra line on the receipt, like $4 or something like that. So one time, this was probably
some white privilege shit.
The most embarrassing, because I was with like coworkers. So my school sent me to this math training in Palm Springs.
Big mistake.
Yeah,
representing the school.
It really
sent
was.
you somewhere to represent
So
the
school sent this group of teachers. There were like 5 or 6 of us to Palm Springs.
Where there's a lot of bars.
There's a lot of bars. So we did the math conference all day long. And then I'm sure it was me who said like, let's go out. Woohoo. And they're like, yeah, no, I could use a bite to eat. And I'm like, no. You're going to see where we're at. We're in downtown Palm Springs.
We're going to drink our dinner,
yeah,
girls.
we're going to pub crawl this. So, of course, I was at an establishment and the pint glass was shiny.
It had like a Bitcoin cone underneath it.
Yeah. Well,
like
and I wanted
$30,000 fucking.
I wanted
pint
something to remember this particular work trip. Now,
don't just take a photo.
Well,
take a pint glass.
Not all of the math learning that I did throughout the day and all of the training that I got.
All the pamphlets you got behind in a bag.
I want the pint glass. So I actually said, because I was like, okay, you're with your work peeps. Like, don't embarrass yourself. Don't get, arrested with your work people. This would be incredibly embarrassing. So I asked the server, because we weren't even at a bar yet. It was dinner. I asked the server, I would like to buy this cup. Will you please put it on the receipt? And the server said, I'll see what I can do. And then I didn't really
oh, didn't you?
I didn't really wait for him to respond again. I didn't really look closely at my receipt to see.
I'll see what I can do is a nice way of saying like, lady, I'm not doing this.
Well, I took it as a yes. So
obviously
I walked out and I was just walking down like the main drag of Palm Springs.
Just like Winona Ryder walking out of the store
with my pint glass. And at this point, my coworkers were like, well, that was pretty cool. Like you can just buy the pint glass. And I'm like, yeah, no, you guys have never done this before?
I'm a pro at this.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden we look back and there's this poor busboy. And he's like, they sent the busboy after. They didn't even send a server. And he's got like his apron on.
He's running.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing he's saying, ma'am, ma'am, as loud as he can.
He's like, ma'am, I didn't get to bust that off of your table. I need
what
that.
A very kind way of saying that. Ma'am, I'm sorry. This was my mistake. I didn't get a chance to bust it off your table, and you thought it was appropriate for you to take it and clean it for me. But I just needed to get that back to the establishment.
So my coworkers are like, oh, shit.
How embarrassing.
You're busted. But at this point, I was emboldened by the alcohol. So I looked at him and I said, no, I bought this.
Oh, you did what the lady next to us at Stadium Suggestion. She's like, I have a reservation.
I have a reservation.
They're like, no, you don't. Get the fuck out of here. She's like, I have a reservation. They're like, no. The other 2 people next to us who are standing here looking frustrated, they actually paid $500 to sit here. They have a reservation. You do not.
You did not.
So you did the same thing.
Yes.
I bought this.
Yes.
I bought this. Just the alcohol slur. I bought this.
Yeah.
I bought this.
I'll show you when we get home. I'll show you which one it is. It is cool.
So you won that battle.
It's got like these flames.
You made some poor busboy go back without a fucking glass in his hand. So his boss is like, you couldn't have fucking wrestled a white woman down with a fucking pint glass. He's like, she said she bought it, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm a horrible person.
So you are a horrible person when it comes to stealing shit.
This is not helping me not sweat.
Yeah, your boob sweat is really
now
out here.
I know. Now I'm sweating because I'm just.
So now that I've beat the shit out of you,
now it's not menopause. It's shame. It's a shame sweat.
I'm trying to be the person on the show who doesn't steal stuff from restaurants.
God, this is ridiculous.
I'll tell you a story where one time I was influenced by you and alcohol to do something really stupid. Another trip to Vegas. We're at Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville, and we're having a great old time. And they bring us out probably some nachos or something on a huge platter that says
Lost Shaker Salt,
Margaritaville, Las Vegas. And this thing is big, right? This is like a 2-foot big platter.
It's a serving platter.
And my wife is a huge Jimmy Buffett fan. She's like, oh my God. Look, it says Lost Shaker Salt from the song Margaritaville. And we're at Margaritaville. I'm like, yeah, it's all coming together. That's what the fucking place is. And you're like, I want that. I want that fucking platter. And I'm like, okay, my wife, I want her to be happy. Her happiness is my number one priority. I'm going to get this platter. Now, at this time, I'm wearing like a big pair of cargo shorts. And I decide I'm not only going to do this, I'm going to clean this platter with my napkin, shove this motherfucker down my pants, waddle out of a Margaritaville in Las Vegas, where there's probably, I'm going to estimate 6,500 cameras on me at the same time.
Yes.
And I'm going to pull off the biggest fucking heist. Fuck Ocean's 11. You know what I'm saying? Matt Damon and Brad Pitt got nothing on me. I got a fucking Margaritaville platter in my pants out of Margaritaville, waddled down the strip like an idiot, and then pulled that fucker out. It is one of my greatest like trophies at the house. Which, to be honest, we never even pull it. I never even see it.
Oh, I pull it out all the time.
Very rarely do I see it like be put in rotation for like charcuterie and shit.
Well, I mean, not for just the two of us. It's a huge platter. We got to at least have like one third person has to come over.
Well, we need a goddamn friend to come over.
So I can, yeah.
And I'm like backstory Robin was like, oh, would you like some charcuterie? Funny story. Do you know how I got that platter? Shoved it in my pants in Las Vegas.
That platter was in my pants,
Yeah,
and now it's got your cheese on it.
Your balls were on this platter, and now I'm supposed to eat cheese off of it? Please, no, sir. Do not serve me this.
Do you see that salami on the plate? That reminds me of when my salami was on
exactly.
plate.
I'm like, I had to have it on there because I was going to get caught. No one's going to reach in my pants. I think I got away with it.
And I was like, walk carefully so it doesn't. I don't want it to slide down and break. Like, don't break my platter. It's gonna slide down your pant leg. Like,
you're not exactly the best criminal. I'm like,
oh God,
play it cool, play it cool,
I'm not.
It cool.
I'm not
Waddling. I'm sure everyone knew what I did. They're just like, yeah, take the platter dish back. We obviously your balls are on it. We don't want it back.
Actually, the server, he was a busboy in Palm Springs a few years prior. He's like, no, I recognize this lady.
She bought it.
Yeah.
She has a reservation.
He's like, look, I didn't work my ass off busting tables in Palm Springs so that I could make it big as a server at Margaritaville in Las Vegas just to fucking have a run-in with this fucking lady again.
We, in Fresno, for 35 seconds, there was a Cabo Wabo Cantina by the lead singer of both Van Halen and...
Is that where we got the reserved?
Yes.
We got a couple of those now.
I Can't Drive 55, Sam Hagar.
Now I have a reserved stadium swim, but yeah, we had the reserved Cabo Wabo.
So this guy opens his business in Fresno. He's bringing this really cool tequila-themed bar to Fresno. He's open one night. Sarah steals the fucking reserve thing off the table.
That's probably why.
Then they closed the next day. They was open
you know how you said you don't know where the platter is? I know where the platter is. I don't know where that reserve thing is.
It's up in our knickknacks. It was in the game room for years. Because we used to put it on our poker table at home. You come to our house, it's like one table, it's like reserved. Like, who the fuck is this? Reserved for me, sir.
Yeah, but now, shit.
We have another reserve.
Now we have the Cole's Chop House one.
Yes,
so it's
Napa.
Do we have two or did we toss the Cabo Wabo?
Well, we upgraded. The Cole's Chop House one is like kind of like sterling silver, nice. The one from Cabo was like just a black piece of plastic with a white screen print reserved. So we have both.
God, we're the worst people on the planet.
Yeah. So listen, don't have us over to your house if you have nice pint glasses, anything that says reserved on it, because we think that's reserved for us.
Yeah.
That's actually what you're going to say in court. You're like, it says reserved, and I reserved this.
Yeah, this is mine.
It's mine.
It's mine.
We did walk out of Stadium Swim yesterday with no less than 6 32-ounce.
Those weren't stolen,
cups.
though. Those were souvenir cups.
They kept trying to take them from us. Like, would you like us to bust those? I'm like, no, we paid fucking $33 for these things, so I'm keeping them. One
person understood me, and she goes, you get to keep the cups. These are really nice. Like, these are fun cups to have. And I was like, yeah, that's what we're here for. Get me. But then everyone else was like, do you want me to bust this? They're like, it's starting to look a little messy. I'm like, no, these are my souvenir cups. Like, I love these.
Listen, Johnny, you can run back there and rinse it and stack these in a nice stack for me. Yeah. I'm taking these home, motherfucker.
They fit in my bike cup holder.
Yeah. We do, like, when we go to Vegas and we spend a few bucks at the pool, we're there to collect cups. And probably steal some reserves.
We got in the cab, though, and the cab.
We need to make a shirt for this show that's like Stories and Cocktails, reserved.
Reserved. we got in the cab with our stack of 6 souvenir cups, though, and the cab driver said, please don't tell me that those are all just from the two of you. And then you said, no, my wife likes to run around and collect extras that have been left behind. And I actually, because you were trying to save face in front of the cab. I
was.
And I actually was thinking, I do like to do that. I didn't do that this time. I forgot.
Well, we had 6, so we were pretty stocked up.
Yeah.
We weren't looking for 2 extra more.
Yeah.
Last time we were in Vegas, we were at a Raiders game. They had like a specific Raiders cup. and you disgustingly started walking around just grabbing other people's cups.
Yeah, because Raiders cups. I know.
God, that's gross.
I know. I'm grotesque.
You're fucking gross,
drunk,
man.
I just like.
Because I'm a germaphobe. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting.
I just get drunk.
You're like, really, germaphobe?
I like
you put your
shit.
balls on a platter, you're serving food, and you don't want your wife to grab a cup that somebody drank out of, and she's going to wash it. I'm like, no, somebody's lips are on that. It's disgusting.
But when I am at home and I look in our cabinet and I see like 5 plastic Raiders souvenir cups, and I know I only purchased one of them. The other 4 were just ones that people just left behind. It's like good quality
left it on the seat, on
glassware, and they just left it behind. I mean, sure.
I think the environmentalist in you is like, I'm going to save this plastic
I gotta
cup.
pick that up.
Otherwise, the Raiders organization is going to throw it away.
I look in the cabinet like, oh, okay, what plastic cup do I want to drink out of? What cheap, shitty, plastic cup do I want? And when I see that I have 5 Raiders cups to choose, it feels like wealth. I feel like when I look at that stack, I'm like, yeah, we made it.
We're established.
We fucking made it.
Look at us, baby.
Yeah.
We got a reserve sign. And this reserve sign is so ridiculous. I'm trying to figure out where in the fuck is this going to go now?
It's going to go over my chair in the motorhome. When we go camping,
and
we pull our chairs out, and we put our chairs in the camp spot, I want people to know that chair
is reserved.
In my campsite, that's mine, is reserved for me.
Okay. I'm feeling you, girl.
Like, lest, you try to sit in my chair. But like, no, this one's
let me tell you about the criminal mastermind that you are. These reserve signs are on every single chair in this VIP area we're in yesterday. Sarah stole her own. And so she's standing there, and then she looks at me, she goes, hey, this looks suspicious. Why don't you go take one off another chair and then put it on my chair so it looks like that person stole it? I go, that's how you get caught. You want me to get caught. I'm like, you're retired. I still have to work as a highway patrolman. I can't be stealing this shit. Don't steal this shit.
Now, I just noticed the back of this reserved clip is a clean white slate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Sharpie on it, coffee, quiet time.
Flip it around.
And I'm going to flip it around.
It's like a sign.
So when we're camping.
I could have that cut with a vinyl maker for you.
When we're camping and we're in a very, very, very small space and I can't get away from you and your chipperness in the morning and I wake up, I get my coffee. I'm going to put this up as like a little reminder to you. And then when you see it get flipped back to reserved, you say, oh, I could talk to my wife again. Like, now I'll ask her if she likes these pictures.
It should be like a picture of a librarian with a book like, shh, quiet.
Oh, yeah, quiet.
Coffee.
Quiet
for
time.
coffee. It's the library. All right, baby, this is a good episode. I am almost out of Baileys and coffee.
I'm also sweating
your
like a
sweat.
whore in church.
Yeah. So listen,
I need some
thank
water.
you guys for coming to the show today, and check your blood pressure. Don't steal stuff. We love you. Thanks for listening. Cheers.
Cheers.
And that was Last Call. You did it. You survived an episode of Stories and Cocktails. But did Rob or Sarah's liver survive the show? I don't know. Tune into the next episode to find out, to enjoy some more stories and some more cocktails. By the way, if you want to support the debauchery of the show, then buy the hosts their next round by Venmoing a couple of gold doubloons at Stories and Cocktails. Back in the day, a gold doubloon was only $4 Spanish. Who knew? Well, folks, I'll be right here behind the bar, cleaning the glassware and awaiting your return to the Stories and Cocktails podcast. Cheerio, friends.